Let's switch to a little bit more of Tim Reedy's wheelhouse here in boys volleyball. And we'll start things off with the league finals here in the LL because, Tim, you got to call that. You got to call the semis and the league finals, by the way. And Manheim Central goes back-to-back, 2 in a row. The two wins in the program coming just these last 2 years for them. So talk a little bit about what the Barons have done in the LL this year in the last 2 years as they knock off Warwick in consecutive years in that LL finals.
It was interesting. I was watching on the media X, formerly Twitter, and what they were saying is that a dynasty in Manheim Central, not football, it's volleyball. Interesting comment by somebody, but Craig Dietrich really has built a solid program over there in the 21 years that he has been there. He's getting athletes over there, but the one thing that Manheim Central does well is they play within themselves. They're not very tall. They can jump out of the gym, but they run a very quick offense. I mean, they don't get the ball too high off the net, off the sets. They've got an all-state setter. They've got a kid in Reagan Miller who can just smoke the ball. Manheim Central, it's interesting, them and their school that they play all the time, 3 miles apart, Warwick. The tide has shifted really in the Lancaster-Lebanon League. You've got really two dominant teams that play 3 miles apart, fans. It used to be Henfield, Penn Manor was in there, Manheim Township years ago. Now you've got Manheim Central and you've got Warwick, two programs that have sort of supplanted the Henfields of the world, not to take anything away from them, but we forget that Warwick has been in the title game the last 4 or 5 years now, and they've won 4 or 5 straight section titles.
I think the one thing that both teams have in common, and Tim kind of talked about it, was that it's not just a one-man show for either one of those teams. In the finals, Landon Matisse was just a monster for Manheim Central. He had kill after kill, and I forget how many blocks. And then in the district quarterfinals against Cocalico, it was Reagan Miller who stepped up, and he was money from both sides of the net. He had a handful of errors in the first set and still finished with 26 kills. You can have a star player, and that's great. You'll win matches. But if you want to make a deep run in the playoffs, if you want to make noise in the playoffs, you've got to have a team. And that's what Manheim Central and Warwick both have. Is they both have a team.
You guys are making some fantastic points, and it's playing out here in districts because as we're about to dive into, both of those teams, Warwick and Manheim Central, have found themselves in the District 3 finals in both AA and AAA. Let's show you the AA bracket where Manheim Central is still alive. They will take on the #1 seed Exeter Township Eagles. Central is the 3 seed. They just knocked off the 3-time defending state champions in AA in Lower Dolphin. 3-time state champions and the defending District 3 champions, those Lower Dolphin Falcons. So right now, Manheim Central will be in the district finals once again tomorrow night up at Exeter if people are wanting to go check that out. I believe the tip-off is 7 p.m. for that. So, Tim, when you see that Central has just parlayed this success, kept it going, they will be going up into Exeter and taking on, I think, what is ranked the #1 team in the state in Exeter, and Manheim is the #2 ranked team. They're both undefeated, and they're both county champs, Tim. This seems like the best of the best, and we're getting it in the District 3 finals.
Yeah, these two teams have been on a collision course all year. Exeter has a 6'8" senior. He is on the U.S. junior national team for volleyball. He's committed to play at Penn State. Wow. So this is a guy that's going to get a lot of swings. Craig Dietrich is going to have his hands full, but if there's one thing I've seen Craig do is he's going to maneuver his starting 6 around to allow his best players up front with that 6'8" person. You said something, Chad, that I think people have to understand again. Manheim Central just beat the 3-time defending state champions in Lower Dolphin. This is a team that they played last night on their home court in Lower Dolphin and beat them in front of a rowdy crowd. And I know Craig Dietrich, I talked to him a little bit last night. He just said it was a heck of a volleyball match. He said, I am wiped out. The kids are wiped out, he said, but we will come back fighting on Thursday. I know Craig has been wanting Exeter all year. I think the fans have too. But really, Chad, this is the game probably for the state title. Hard to believe these two teams are ranked 1 and 2, have been all year, and they're clashing right in our backyard.
Well, if you thought that is impressive setting up the AA finals, how about the AAA finals with Warwick, who, by the way, are making their first ever appearance in the District 3 finals. It's never happened in all of the history that Warwick Boys Volleyball has. I went back and I looked. I double-checked it because I just wasn't 100% sure. They will be taking on the 1 seed from Central York, Warwick the 2 seed. That game also tomorrow night. It'll be in York County. And, you know, in the write-up in the paper with Jeff Reinhardt, who does obviously a phenomenal job with boys volleyball, this is Warwick's first trip to the finals. This is Central York's 32nd trip to the District 3 finals, guys. Tim, as a volleyball aficionado, you know this, that Central York is one of those programs that is just, you know, phenomenal in boys volleyball. It's you know, Hempfield, those York County teams with Central York right there above it. They've won 24 district titles, Tim. So, you know, it does look like a bit of the momentum is shifted onto Central York's side, but we've been showing that Warwick is playing so well. They're playing well right now. I just think it's really cool that a team that finally gets there is playing against such a seasoned program, and we'll see how that clashes.
You were just saying about that, Chad. I thought I could have sworn that Warwick was in a district final at some point, but because they've been so good for so many years. You're right. Central York has been the dominant name in volleyball in District 3. Northeastern also from the York County League also there. But Central York is synonymous over across the river, Lancaster County, with the Hempfield, boys team. And that's what they have done all year. They have not panicked. They've gone about their business. They dropped a match early on to Hempfield. They lost, of course, to Manheim Central in the LL finals. And then now they have made their way to the finals. I'm sure the only team probably, or the only kids probably in District 3 who think that they have a shot against Central York are the Warwick Warriors. But if you're Foster Law, I think that's what you want. You want that underdog. You want that Goliath David sort of, setup. Central York has been there, done that. They may be a little overconfident. Warwick is a little bit, hungry, I think. The level of play from these kids today is unreal, and the teams show that. And what I'm so proud of is that in our area, in the District 3 area, we have so much to be proud of, just great levels of, high school sports. But I wish Manheim Central, I wish the Humpty Warwick Warriors, I wish them luck, because I tell you what, how cool would it be to have those two teams win district titles who went at it for the LL Championship?
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be an amazing storyline. And just to update you on kind of what I had said, your partner, Tim, Barry Darish, texted me this morning and was like, I'm pretty sure Warwick played for a championship back in the 90s. And I was like, well, Barry would know, right? I mean, he was involved in that way back then. So I checked the records. They played in the semifinals in 95 and 96 and both lost to Hempfield those years. 97.
Okay, so those were the years I was thinking, middle 90s.
Yeah, he said they finished third in the state that year, but in the districts they lost to Hempfield, which is no surprise. I mean, Hempfield was a powerhouse.
No.
And then in 97 they lost to Central York in the semis, and then they've been in the semis the last 3 years here in 22, 23, and 24, and this is the only year that they have gotten through, Bruce. So, I mean, this is really, it just feels like Warwick has been building and has finally punched through the ceiling, and they've made it, and now they're going to pull up a huge, at least try to pull off a huge upset.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. It seemed like Warwick had been in a district championship match back in the 90s at some point. I mean, Warwick had so many. If you look at some of those teams that Warwick had, when their program just started in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, you're talking about guys like Eric Houston and Terry Hutchinson. Nate Jackie played on those teams. I apologize. I'm going to forget some names, but yeah, I thought too that Warwick would have been in a district championship game, back in the 90s at some point. And I talked with Nate Gajecki was actually at the semifinal game last night So I double checked with him. I said, "Are you sure that this is the first district finals appearance?" And he said, "Yep, this is the first one." And Foster, of course, played at Warwick, so he's got that good background knowledge too. But yeah, and I talked to Kyle Charles about what it would mean for him to get to a district championship team. He's had such a phenomenal career. He's playing at the Division I level next year at St. Francis, and you could just see the hunger in his eyes, and his eyes light up when he talked about the possibility of they still had another match to win. When I talked to him, but you could tell that it was driving him, that it was something he really wanted to do.
It's a great time of year. I know school's wrapping up. Spring sports is wrapping up as far as, at this point it's win or go home. And yeah, we wish everyone the best of luck. Warwick Volleyball, Manheim Central Volleyball, Warwick Softball, Exeter Baseball. Those are our teams still remaining, and we're hoping for some good news for them.